Hi, this is 𝗙ص coming to you direct from London, the United Kingdom, and welcome to another episode of the Social Media Marketing Mastermind, SMA Mastermind podcast, where today I have a very special guest with me who is going to be talking about his journey in building his agency. He is a global citizen, born in Mexico, raised in Paris, and now back in New York City. His name is 𝗓𝗓, and he is the founder of SocialQ. Rudy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Abol. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here and sharing my story with everyone, potentially share some learnings, and all about this is about people and about sharing knowledge and network. So very thrilled to be here.
Thank you very much for joining me all the way from New York. So for the people who are watching this and might not know who you are, why don't you give a little bit of a background into who you are and how you got into this digital marketing space?
Okay, so I've always been very, very passionate about advertising. I started about 15 years ago, actually in January 5th, 2005 was my first day as an intern at Publicis. And basically, I always loved the idea of influencing human behaviors or adjusting to human behaviors to the way they basically relate to brands, relate to influencers, relate to different kind of inputs in order to make the decision of purchasing something, downloading an app, like any type of behavior that is triggered by promotion, marketing, and everything. So that always been a passion. And I started 15 years ago, very much at the very beginning of digital. Very much educating the brands on what was wireframes, what the way you could navigate through a website. We're talking about 15 years ago. And through my experience at different larger agencies such as 𝗔𝗴𝗲, Havas, DDB. I worked for major brands such as Microsoft, Adobe, a lot on Buick and Coca-Cola for a lot of years, basically shaping my mindset into different type of acquisition, different type of marketing journeys, and really shaping a way for me to be very agile in a way to understand business requirements and objectives and branding. So I really saw the industry going from TV. The very beginning, it was all focused on TV, traditional TV, up until experiential marketing to be closer to the audience, very much sharing experience, to digital, to social media, and now today to some sort of very much all-in digital between organic, paid, and really trying to support brands to navigate through this whole opportunities they have now to go directly to the customers. So I've been really living that shift and trying to come up with a different way to approach it via SocialQ.
Yeah, that's quite a journey, 15 years, and I totally appreciate what you're talking about. Digital really started taking off about 15 years ago, probably when Facebook started as well, probably around 15, 16 years ago. So you've worked in quite a few large international agencies with big brands, so then you opened SocialQ. So how is SocialQ different to other agencies out there? So
basically, learning from my background is mostly on account strategy, but also operations. So that has been very helpful, my background in operations, in the way an agency is structured at the core, and how I was seeing the frustration of the new brands and new accounts and new clients not really understanding how everything had to be so, sorry, that's the reality of New York City. Why agency had to be so over-engineered, so not cost efficient, and basically not being able to meet the level of dedication and care new brands are requesting from their agency, from their partners. So it started basically in few angles. We feel that we really providing something different is all the new, the Shark Tank product, emerging product, direct to consumer product, or offer, basically are people who have basically sometimes almost invested their whole money into their new business, and they don't want to throw money at bigger agencies. So they also want that level of dedication. So what we do at SocialQ is, one, we basically try to embed ourselves, our brands in-house marketing partners. We're trying to have to provide the same level of dedication and care, but also the level of outside perspective. We are combating today a very much that desire for those new CMOs and new brand leaders to get everything in-house, but there is a level of perspective and expertise that they will not get so much in-house, because once you have spent the investment on one full-time person, you most likely cannot get also the creative person, the motion person, the media person. So we are trying to really combat that in-house model by finding the perfect mid compromise. So we provide hybridity. We are very nimble. We're very agile. We're very structured because we also have a background in operations. So it's not a shit show. It's basically very well structured, the same processes that we would found at Publicis, but everyone here cares. Everyone here doesn't need to have the biggest party on the roof, especially right now, but they know that they buy into a very, very nimble production focus and very much working and helping smaller brands to get to the next level. And that's more in terms of like the positioning in terms of operationally, but in terms of aspirational delivery is finding that point of resonance. And what resonant means is telling someone's story where and how it needs to be told. And that's not only a fluffy thing, is first by having media and creative on the same roof, we basically just find a way to speak to the audience where, but also how they need to be, they want to be involved. It's like we really make sure that the content we are serving, beyond being data driven, is also talking to a much more sophisticated way. So basically, it's not only about your product in the background, it's elevating your story. Everyone has a story behind the product they're trying to push forward. So we're trying to tell that story organically with having a bridge between organic and paid. So, sorry, that's a long story, but every time you get to talk to someone, the CEO, about his offer, that's what you get. So yes, it's operationally and also in a way we deliver what we do.
And so, I mean, are your people then based in your clients' offices, or do you kind of work from your own office now that you're kind of trying to combine this in-house, out-of-house model?
That's a really good question. So it's more operationally like in-house, but we still have our own office because we need to be agile and being versatile in the client we're managing. It's very important to build our own culture, like the SocialQ culture. If you look at our Instagram, the SocialQ agency, you can really see that there is an ethos. There is like really a mantra of working at SocialQ that we can only maintain by having our independency and having our place to work. Like we've been able and lucky enough to have an office with like individual offices. So that allows us to to apply the CDC guidance in terms of safety. But when we say in-house, it's mostly ideologically very much spiritually in-house. And we have a lot of client meetings in our conference room too, but we keep our independence to find that perfect balance in our team wanting to still work at the agency, but also being close to the clients.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So in terms of your agency's actual offering, what are you doing for your existing clients?
We do everything creative, media, organic, and paid. So in that framework, we do everything from branding, is like assessing the brand positioning, the messaging, the up until understanding the audience segmentation, understanding who they're trying to really target, what are the challenges of that target, what do we need to overcome. Then we switch to the digital presence. We do everything from e-commerce, website, landing experience, making sure the brand is talking about themselves cohesively. Because at the end of the day, any audience, you can serve them beautiful ads, but they will end up searching. Are you being legit? How being cohesive in everything, in all your handles, in terms of it can be on social, it can be on your e-commerce, it can be on anywhere where it's relevant for you to speak as a brand. We need to make sure we are cohesive, because again, the person is going to search. If your branding is completely different in your ads versus that in your website or in your handles, in social media handles, they will not convert. And that's the reality. Is we're not going to do this in silo. We're not going to build a website for you without already seeing the ads you're going to be serving, without having the funnel in mind. So our goal is not to have a price tag of about like $200K for a website, which is absurd, and leave you work with your website. We're going to understand how we're going to go after that audience through your presence.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, in terms of working with clients, do you operate in any particular niches or particular industries, or do you kind of work across the board?
So, great question. So we are very industry agnostic, and that doesn't mean we do everything and anything. We are our core expertise is very much on the audiences. Is the way we get to understand the millennial audience, Gen Z. All this behavior is the same, but then we adjust to the actual industry. So we've worked across apparel, good jewelry. We do real estate. We do very much across the board. So we don't own one vertical, but we can be very, very agile, because what we focus on is the audience and how to ensure, in terms of creative and segmentation, we can actually get them to convert or to advocate for the brand.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, because a lot of agencies out there, they might work in a certain industry and they might work in a certain niche, and they feel like that they can take the expertise and then apply it across the industry. So this is quite a different approach, I suppose, but it's definitely working for you. So when you initially started your agency, a lot of people who are going to be watching this, they might be looking to start an agency, or they've started an agency, and they're struggling to kind of pick up clients. How were you initially picking up clients when you began?
So, great question. So the very first thing is, I never defined myself as someone salesy, or I come from a place of transparency and genuinity. And I've built over the past 12 years in New York and in the USA, in Detroit for GM, I really built a very natural network. And I always told anyone I worked with that one day we will work again. And I basically started to have that very strong network across all departments, because I always worked as an account on client services, operations, and in the middle of all the departments across creative, media, analytics, strategy. So I really had that natural network of being able to basically create and get anyone who wanted to have that same, who were fed up of big agency, to come with me and say, aren't you done with being sold at $300 an hour when you get a quarter in your bank account? Like, this is insane. So do you buy into the story of SocialQ? And that got to work very well. So what I would say is, so you need to have a new business strategy in terms of the partner use. So the same way, the work we do for our clients, we need to start being able to do it for ourselves. Who is SocialQ's audience, who is our target, who do we want to work with, who are they, how do we get to actually talk to them, how do we get to advertise to them, or how we genuinely, I have new business people that work with me, and including me, we want to focus sometimes on specific industry. Post-COVID, we want to help people, new brands changing or shifting their offer to online. So we kind of are a pulse on what's going on and try to adjust our new business. But it comes also with natural, when you do a good job in the past. So I had my client I brought into this journey, but when you do a good job, we've been in business for over 2 years, people come back. Either project-based, or we've done one website, we've done one paid media campaign, and they just come back. They love the team, and then slowly it becomes more organic, and that's a good place to be when it doesn't require so much leaning in and very salesy approach. It's about building a network. So network, never burn a bridge when you move away. Never, if you work somewhere it's frustrating, you don't need to tell them the truth or tell them your truth about how horrible it was to work with them, because
Are you going to be arrested?
Exactly, it's coming in. No, it's important to always, time heals any relationships and any experiences, and at the end of the day, it's a journey, right? Your career is a journey, and you need to take what's best, what has been the most fulfilling to you. Give back. It's very important to give back when someone in your network is in need, and then eventually it will pay it forward, right? It's always about pay it forward, and that's something that I carry with me, and that anyone in my team carries with them as well.
Yes, absolutely awesome. I mean, you've been quite generous with your time and with all of the answers that you're giving in terms of how you have actually built your business. Final question to you is, in your journey of starting and growing your agency, what have been the biggest lessons that you have learned?
So first is the network, and it's regardless of how you're someone who likes to socialize or anything, is see your career as a journey, and always keep it positive. And eventually, you never know how you're going to be able, what you're going to be able needing, or what you're going to be able to utilize from your past. The second, if you wanted to do it, do it. If you had that entrepreneurial mindset, if you are a risk taker, just go for it. Also, never, when everyone is telling you what is your business plan in 5 years from now, do not listen to those people. You're lucky if you have a 1 year business plan, but otherwise just walk and just go for it, be safe, and just, if you look 6 months ahead, if you're safe for 6 months, you're fine. Because advertising, marketing goes very fast. It comes in and out, but eventually if you believe that you can provide something different, if you feel that you have enough experience and expertise to talk to C-suite, and you understand the reality of anyone on the other side, is very important. And I think the third is never lose the passion. Is you need to do this. This is a very hard industry. You need to work hard. You need to understand all the generation that comes after you and comes before you. But hard work is what comes first. And as I always say, manage people with respect and fairness, regardless of your style. If you are doing this with transparency, fairness, and respect, you can get a lot of things out of your team, and you will get the same thing in return. And building a business is a beautiful journey that I recommend to anyone who feels that they had it in their soul for a long time, because until you do it, it will never go away.
Awesome. So to sum it up, network, just do it. And the third one was maintain your passion. Don't lose your passion. On that note, Rudy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. And I hope everyone is safe and everyone looks forward and adjusts to normal. It will comes back around, and people will always need to to get new clothing. They will only need to get something to make them feel better, to entertain themselves. It just may come to in a different way, and we just need to be looking ahead and anticipate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that tip.